So I think
Easy one.
before while we wait for everyone to join Spark, or we want to know, did the Power Ranger suit fit you, or was it too tight?
Oh, was it for me? All right.
Uh,
Yeah. You know, I would, but Chief grabbed all three of them, and apparently he's
uh,
got every second day he wants a different color. So
I would believe that.
yeah, we'll have to get him. Have to get some photos. Maybe create some NFTs, tokenize some of those images. Maybe not though. Yeah, we'll have to somehow kind of keep it to 18 and above, I think.
I love that when you speak about it, he appears as well. Like he just sneaks his way up on stage. Nothing
speaking of Chief, speaking of Chief, we have him up here.
Yeah, speaking, he shall appear. That's what I'm saying. You let him know about Lycra, he'll be.
Are you lot talking about me again? Jeez, I tell you.
We do. We talk about you reasonably frequently.
Yeah. Fair enough.
It's all
Okay.
nice things.
Yeah,
anyway, so
that's
let's kick this off. So it's great to have everybody here. Obviously, lots to unpack and lots to talk about, especially direction, what's happening, where we're going, all that fun stuff. I'll hand straight over to the pros so they can give us the rundown about what's happening. So either Chief or Spark, who wants to start this party?
Yeah, look, I'll jump in. We how do I say this? We haven't stopped. We've been absolutely flat out. Spark and I and the whole team have just been working their absolute rings off over the well, for a long time. And one of my focus areas obviously is the exchanges, and also looking at how we're going to with Spark about how we're going to onboard projects and chains and all those other areas. Now, we're making some really good progress on the exchange side. We're just in the final stages with some pretty big exchanges at the moment. Still going back and forwards answering their questions. Some of the I'll call it the application form. They're so invasive in the length of them, the amount of information they want, and how we have to present it. So it's a lot of work to do. I think yesterday alone there was about 6 hours worth on the on one application alone, just in updating it. So it's a lot of work. We'll get there. We'll have those exchanges. We've got a number of offers sitting there at the moment, and we're just making some reviews and decisions on which ones we actually want to go with, which ones will have the most impact out there, the most exposure, the most reach amongst our for new users and adopters of Layer 1X. That's really what we're focusing on.
And that's it. To say we haven't stopped. That's that's a massive understatement. Spark, straight over to you.
Yeah, just to give you an update, and in terms of like some of the dev stuff, because Kevin may make it or he may not, but I'll just ask him to give me a bit of a timeline, just so we can go through some of the stuff that's happening and what's coming out. So shortly, so we're looking to do this by the end of next week. We'll have the two things actually next week. So you'll notice in terms of the swap fee optimization, that'll be from, I believe, next week onwards. So by tomorrow or by the end of the weekend, you'll notice in terms of the swap fees going in between chains. So, I think at the moment we've got Binance, Ethereum, Polygon, AVAX. In terms of those swap fees that we've got on those, you'll notice that will now be at a highly competitive rate compared to like Stargate Finance and Squid Router from next week. And we'll also be starting the liquidity bootstrap for the swap fees as well. We've got a pretty cool program that we're rolling out with that. So that'll come out end of next week. So those two will be kind of go hand in hand. We'll have the swap fees and we'll have the liquidity bootstrap to also bootstrap liquidity for the cross-chain swaps as well. Look, the focus, just to kind of give you a bit of an insight into the liquidity bootstrap, the focus will be on the stable coins USDT, USDC initially. The reason is because the majority of all tokens sent cross-chain are USDT and USDC. ETH is the third token, but a very far back third. So those are the majority of tokens sent cross-chain. So we'll start with that liquidity so we can build up liquidity there and enhance the swaps even more. So that's coming as well. And then we've got also this month as well, we've got the L1X app V2, which will be available coming towards the end of the month. The gaming arcade, which is at the end of the month as well, and being able to create your own NFT and fungible token, that will be the end of the month. We'll also update the portfolio view in the L1X app, and the expert program will also be available at the end of the month as well. So all of those things are coming out in this month, and what Kevin's building towards and the dev team are building towards are having use cases like, and so when you see the liquidity bootstrap, you also see the balancer pool structure. So you'll be able to look at how that it'll give you a great idea of how the balancer pool will operate on the L1X app facing, and then obviously the DEX will have their website facing as well. But this will be through the L1X app in terms of the liquidity bootstrap period. So you have the swaps optimized by, when I say optimize, the fees drastically reduced by next week to align with the liquidity bootstrap. We'll also have the gaming arcade, and we'll have the balancer pool as well, which will come out with a liquidity bootstrap, or part 1 or V1 of that balancer pool. And then what will happen is, and the dev docs are coming out this month as well. I know Kevin's working on the testnet and Explorer as well, and his focus wanted to be having the liquidity bootstrap or the balancer pool contracts, the swaps optimized and those swap contracts available, and also the gaming contracts available. So that's why the swap optimization, liquidity bootstrap, and the gaming arcade will be up this month. So when the testnet does go out with the Explorer, you'll be able to obviously test code on the testnet, but you'll be able to take these smart contracts already existing, already operational. So they're available for a bit of cut and paste as well from the devs, so they know, okay, this smart contract does this function, it's working in this particular application, so I can use that particular smart contract on my, whatever the project they're putting together. So you'll have the testnet phase, and you'll have the existing code that they can basically copy over as well. And so that's basically, that's some of the key highlights that I know Kevin wanted me to go through. That's coming out. The airdrop as well. We're yet to confirm the date for the airdrop, but we'll have the date confirmed fairly soon. We're conscious of running too many things at the same time in terms of the liquidity bootstrap and the airdrop. So, but we know that the airdrop's important. So, but we'll be coming out with dates on that. Hopefully have some more updated, firm dates for the actual airdrop on the next AMA next week. But in terms of the dev timeline, that's the stuff that's happening this month. Do you guys hear any of that? Hello?
It'd be super awkward if we didn't hear any of that. Yes, can you? Yes.
Let me give you
drag out for.
Yeah, let me give you an update from the marketing perspective as well. So with the marketing, it's been a really productive probably last couple of weeks actually. So we've secured a partnership with a marketing company. So we're having internal and external. So we want some external support as well. We should be finalising a contract with a second marketing company outsourced as well, and that'll be around KOLs. It'll be around tweets, some AMAs, all those sort of things. And so it's great that we're starting to align with those. And also, one of the other things that we'll do, you may have even noticed, I don't know if Kryptonaut is on here or not, but we've split up the Twitter handles. So we really want to have, from the marketing perspective anyway, and from the awareness and the promotion and the communication perspective, we want to have the foundation handle, we want to have the L1X app handle, we want to have the Xtalks handle, just so there's so much content that we could put out on these internal handles, and we feel it's key to separate these handles. So if it's L1X app affiliated, then it'll come through the L1X app handle. We can update on L1X app. If it's protocol based in terms of infrastructure or key partnerships or key initiatives from the infrastructure, from the protocol, then that'll come through the foundation handle or the community foundation handle. And then with Xtalks, we'll have a separate handle for Xtalks. and we'll be doing the Xtalks AMAs through a separate handle. That just helps us kind of communicate the right things through those specific channels. And also from the marketing, so working with these marketing companies, what we really want to do is we want to optimize the time and when we promote through the third-party marketing companies. That's why we've aligned with these guys. So we'll have our internal marketing. We'll be rolling out initially the first campaign. There'll be two sides to it, and one will be rolling with the optimized swaps and the liquidity bootstrap when that comes up as well. So basically, have the liquidity bootstrap will support the swaps and try the swaps because now the fees have been optimized. Give them a try and see how fast, see how cheap, and see how secure they are. And so that'll be one side. And then we want to kind of start a campaign, but roll this for a little bit longer and really talking about the difference in the interoperability and some of the use cases. Because we've got a lot of projects looking at us, and a lot of them will go through the dev docs this month. A lot of them will jump on to the testnet when it's up as well. Is what we want to start to do as well is roll out some kind of use cases. It might just be shorts, but different things that you could build on Layer 1X with the technology. So talking about the interoperability and talking about the use cases as well. So we're organizing something there. We want to roll that out. And so, but really with the kind of 3 promotions that we want to do between now and launch in March. The first promotion will be the swaps and the liquidity bootstrap. The second promotion will be the airdrop. And then the third promotion will be the push leading up to launch. So that's where I bring in these third-party marketing companies, and they're going to assist us with those 3 promotions there in terms of getting awareness out. And predominantly, look, the key will be the airdrop and the pre-launch promotion, and even the post-launch promotion as well. Those are the big 2 ones, but we'll start off with using them at a certain level in terms of promoting the swaps, because these will be optimized in the liquidity bootstrap. I felt like I've talked a lot, and a lot of people have probably fallen asleep, but I apologize. But I just wanted to go through what Kevin had to talk about in terms of the dev update, but also the marketing as well.
Yeah. Let's explore those feelings, mate. And what makes you feel that you talk a lot?
The silence. But yeah, just to let you know, so with the marketing, with the third-party marketing companies, that's when we want to bring them in for when we want to really push those promotions. So optimized swaps, airdrops, launch. So those will be kind of the 3 focuses. But internal marketing as well, we'll be rolling out. We want to raise even more awareness. As more people come into the community and more users come on board, we want to raise awareness not only about the difference in the interoperability. We want to get them to try the swaps, but also we want to start talking to developers as well in terms of some of the use cases that you could build on here. So when they look through the dev docs, when the testnet is up, when they can see these other applications such as the gaming arcade, the balancer and the swaps, they can see those smart contracts in action, and they can use some of those smart contracts in their own project. That all kind of wraps up into this PoX phase, getting more online transactions, getting more awareness, getting more users.
You know what they say about talking to yourself? It's perfectly acceptable to talk to yourself. It's when you start answering back, it's the problem.
Yeah, I'll save that for private then.
Yeah. As long as you don't answer yourself in public, it's all good.
And no comment.
Yeah. But yeah, there's a lot on, and there's a lot of planning that has happened. But there's still, there's always, and look, I think it's sounding like a broken record, but there's always lots of work to be done. But look, we're up for the challenge and making sure this all kind of comes together over this phase as well. So yeah, from the dev perspective, that's the kind of timelines, and that's what Kevin's working towards, and the dev team are working towards. From the marketing perspective, we're aligning now with these third-party marketing companies. We'll start to use them at some sort of level for the swaps and liquidity bootstrap, and then we'll come in again with the airdrop. They'll come in again with the airdrop, and then the pre-launch promo as well. And obviously talking about the kind of splitting up of the Twitter handle, so we can speak specifically about L1X app on the L1X app. We can speak specifically about the protocol on the foundation handle, and then we can speak specifically about Xtalks on the Xtalks handle. So I think that kind of that helps things as well, so people know where to go for specific information.
Yeah, definitely. And that's that will build out in time, I think, as we go. Is there more? So just before we dive in, is there more updates you guys want to share across anything else before we maybe have a look at any of the questions from the comments or anything like that?
I'm good. I don't know, Chief, if you've got anything else.
No, not for me. I just did actually see one question in there about tokenomics and the burn. Now to decrease supply. Now, one of the things that that's probably misunderstood is a lot around burns in crypto. Because it permanently takes coins out of circulation. There are alternatives to that, and that is why we have, being a foundation, we have a foundation council who can make a decision about buying back coins as well. That's always an option. It means that you always, in the future, as the coin price rises, have the ability to re-release them out to help fund projects and onboarding chains and doing all that sort of work. So yeah, burn's always an option. But it's a permanent option in comparison to pulling out coins out of the market. There's always ways of achieving it. The same thing to ensure we have supply and demand is balanced.
Yeah, just one more from the community. I think we had a general overview of the public sale, I suppose, where we're currently at with that. I know that it's notionally closed. Is there updates from that side around timeframes of when that will be reflected on the platform? Does that make sense?
It always helps when you're not on mute, eh? Yeah,
It does help,
there
yeah.
is. So yeah, yeah. So I actually
That's
asked
that
that
talking to yourself you
question.
talked about.
Yeah, I started answering myself. Actually, I think I just did answer myself. Yeah, no, I posed that question to the dev team, Kevin and the dev team. I believe the L1X homepage has been closed down, but I think the swap, the update from Kevin was basically all public sale access to public sale coins will be closed by Monday, so the 13th. That's the update from Kevin and the dev team.
Okay, excellent. And Sam, do you see any more in there that I might have missed? There's not too many questions generally. I think there was some around the test net, around when that starts, when that's running from, what I actually think Grover was in there answering most of the questions anyway, so Grover's on top of it. But is there
I could
time frame
just with the
like that?
Yeah. So basically, so I was speaking to Kevin about this last week and how he wants to kind of what he wants ready for when the testnet goes live. So the dev docs, from speaking to him, Kevin, yesterday, the dev docs will be out shortly, and then the testnet and Explorer. I think he's got that. He wants to get the balanceable contract out, the gaming arcade contracts out. So when the testnet goes live, and the Explorer goes live, you can test, but also you've got these existing operational smart contracts that you can also copy as well. So I think the kind of roadmap for that is get the balance of smart contracts done, and that'll become active anyway with Liquidity Bootstrap. Get the gaming contract, get the gaming arcade up, and get those contracts done, and then have those contracts open source as well once the testnet goes live to assist in sort of development and build.
And just to explain the concept behind what we're doing there with those the dev docs and testnet, we're actually creating Kevin's creating those environments so that it enables developers and those projects to be able to do as much of the self-onboarding or all of the self-onboarding they can, just based on the documentation and the availability of DevNet, testnet, and obviously mainnet. The whole idea there, make it easier for projects to onboard. Full stop.
Fantastic. I hope that answers that specific testnet questions, etc. Here's a question. We'll be able to move coins between wallets in the instance of having accidentally sent some coins to MetaMask to L1X. So I can answer that. they're frozen to that wallet, but you can actually import your MetaMask into L1X as an L1X wallet, and then you'll be able to see them in your L1X wallet. There is actually a guide in the Discord. Just tag somebody and we can tag you in it if you're having issues with that. But yeah, you import it in as an L1X wallet, and then they'll be inside there. So I can answer that question. Do we have information about when resets coming for vesting, everything like that, so everybody can get back into what they wanted to? Time frames or timeline?
Yeah, no, good question. So I got that that timeline from Kevin as well in terms of the list. So that'll be up by end of month for experts. So that'll be up where you can go in there and then reset. So the first thing he wanted to get done is making sure that the balanceable contracts, the gaming arcade contracts, they're done. So when testnet goes live, those contracts are available. Then it'll be experts, which will be done this month as well. So you'll be able to opt into that. And with that question before, I think Crypto Psycho's got a really good video on the kind of importing the MetaMask into L1X as well, but maybe you guys have already got that.
Not to steal a thunder, but that is the video. That's the one I'm talking about.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, but look, in terms of experts, from the roadmap and the timeline that Kevin's given me, that'll be by end of month that everyone will be able to go in there and opt in. All the instructions will be on there. You'll be able to see and then make a decision. Once again, it is reset. So if you'd already gone into a certain level, but you wanted to change that level, then it's reset. You'll be able to go in and make a fresh decision.
Wonderful. Adding on, I think from that question, when it's always when WEN, that when button, that when GIF, can L1X transfer of coins be available between wallets? As in, and I get this is not necessarily to try and make sales or P2P, but more so from a logistics point of view. If I've got two wallets and I want to put them together, is that in the foreseeable future, or they'll be locked to until launch, basically?
From my understanding, that it would be non-transferable until launch. That's from my understanding. I can get some clarity on that, but for now, that's what that's what I believe. If it changes, I'll let you guys know. But yes, non-transferable until launch.
Sleazy, that is exactly the GIF that I'm talking about. I'm glad you're on the same page. So this one, I think definitely there's some interest for this one around knowing for project onboarding, any information around them in testnet, them in the launch pad. How the launch pad's going? Is there updates on that, or still sort of similar to where we're at? I think more so from a just curious point of view. Gary has just thrown that up there to see if there's anything we can pull the alpha out of chair. Our Cryptonaut's not here, so I mean we can't bully him into anything. So I mean we'll try and bully Spark and Chief.
I'll let Chief answer this one. I just want to make sure he's still awake.
Sorry, mate, you'd have to repeat the question. I was having a bit of a sleep, so.
I'd believe that. I don't know if you're taking the piss or you really want the question repeated.
No, sorry, I was just reading something. So yeah.
Oh yeah, all good. Yeah. So around the launchpad details, I guess projects coming on board. Is there? It's more so not a pressing like what's happening with that, but more so is there any updates? I think Gary has thrown up there like how will it work? What does that look like? Is there progress from that front?
So there's a couple of options around the launchpad that we're working through. One of them is a number of partnership discussions that we're having with existing launchpads, but also developing our own launchpad. So we've either got one or two options sitting there to move forward with. There's just a slow process with talking to these teams because they're all around the world, and it just takes a little bit of time to put in place. So the options there: go with an existing launchpad, build our own, which is on the roadmap, or both.
Excellent. I'm just scrolling through questions. Same, Sam. If you see something I've missed, feel free to jump in.
Yeah, I see one that was asked pretty early on. There have been the people saying that they love Chief a lot, so there's that. But a question for you, Chief. I know we have discussed this previously, and we have reiterated sort of this among the community. But would you like to give an overview as to how many centralized exchanges we have been talking to, and what sort of things are we hearing back from them?
Okay, so how many CEXs have we talked to? A lot. I would guesstimate in my list, I've probably got about 40 or 50 odd in that list. Some of them, or quite a lot of them, are very low level exchanges, tier threes. And if there's such thing as a tier four, it's quite, they're the ones we just sort of, we keep on the back burner, just as if we need them down the track, or if it becomes sensible because they grow. To give you an idea, the tier one exchanges, in comparison to tier twos, if you go out there and do a little bit of research yourselves, what you'll realize is that those tier twos are fighting really hard for the business of moving into the tier one status, and they're growing at a greater rate than the tier ones. So some of those tier twos are actually going to be very useful to move forward with. Plus, they also give us exposure in different markets, whether that's around through Europe, through the Far East, across through Africa, across through the US, or even Australia. It's a matter of balancing up which ones are going to give us the most exposure to get out there. Who's got a decent number of users already? What are their marketing campaigns with us? How are we going to incorporate the airdrops? How we're going to incorporate communicating with their team? How we'd actually put our Layer 1X up on their homepage for a few days so that we promote ourselves, or they promote us for our launch. So there's a lot of work that actually goes into to all of that. As for the number of actual applications, I think at guesstimate, I'd probably put in about 20. Some of them just don't get back to you. I'll give you an example. Binance. We did Binance probably 8 months ago is when we started, and you get zero communication back from them whatsoever. So others come back to you very, very quickly. You've also got to be on the lookout for scammers, because they're out there as well, faking exchanges. And I'm aware of one, and we just got to be very careful. Do our due diligence across them. Make sure we know who we're talking to. Have they been validated? There's a lot of work goes into it.
Yeah, I think coming to Binance, I think it's a known fact that considering how big they are going to take at least a few months to get back to you. But yeah, thank you, Chief, for
Just, uh,
for chasing
no,
them.
I'll also just add to that with Binance, and look, the market will decide on who's going to be who's going to be the leader, and who's going to will somebody overtake Binance in their in their position. I think it's quite possible. Dominance in crypto, especially with CEXs, doesn't last very long. It's about a matter of how they position themselves, and if they don't do it right, well, somebody else will come in and take over that crown.
No, yeah, absolutely, and that is why I love Web3 so much, because there is always something new. You wake up, you scroll Twitter, and you see that there is a new tech that is up and running already. So 8 hours of sleep. In 8 hours of sleep, you're going to miss a lot of stuff.
Absolutely. And just to, I'll also add in there the word decentralization. Now, we're talking to the CEXs, but obviously there's a lot of work going on in the background as well around DEXs, decentralized exchanges. They are, to be perfectly honest, they're the future. And as we head into the next bull run, you're going to see those DEXs far outstripping the CEXs in their volume and trades. So, and you actually start seeing those CEXs moving over to becoming DEXs. Oh, what does that open up for Layer 1X? Oh, gee, we can actually provide a DEX, white label. So that's the concept that when we're talking to them, that some of those CEXs are getting excited about. So yeah, watch this space.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I think the possibilities right now are endless, considering the amount of connections we have made in the past few months. And yeah, Cryptonaut, we are going to be coming back to you in just a few seconds. You are not going to make it through the back of the class. Just one question for, I think Park would be the best person to answer this. So according to our current plan, I think we have plan to start the TGE in somewhere around March. And do we know how long is the tested phase going to last, and how does it impact our anticipated TGE timing?
Yeah, the TGE time. So yeah, this is going to give everyone a bit of an idea. So the TGE timing will be dependent on the amount of traction or timeline we need for things like the Explorer, the testnet, all those sort of things in terms of being able to get some traction there. So look, it'll be March. I just can't give a date because what we like is to have those things up, see the traction, and then kind of make some calls from there. So yes, it's March. Exact date that'll depend on the traction through the testnet, what's up, what's available, and what's getting used. And I think the dev docs will be the first stage, so that'll help you be able to see the dev docs and like Mike said, trying to make those dev docs as simple and kind of straightforward as possible. And then testnet and Explorer, once those can get adopted, tested out, we see traction there. We know everything's kind of good with the testnet Explorer dev docs, that there is a self onboarding process for projects, and they're using it and it's happening. Then I think that that'll give us a really good indication that hey, it's ready for TGE.
Yeah, thank you, Spark. I think Cryptonaut has been sitting very quietly. We would like to hear something from your Cryptonaut as well. So, any updates from your side? Something regarding Rabbit Hole, impromptu AMAs, stuff like that?
Well, I think I set a new record for sitting in the back before you guys found me. 26 minutes. I'm kind of impressed with that. So, yeah, I mean, there's a whole lot going on. Definitely, I'm pretty excited. We're myself, along with the rest of the team, are currently going through version 2 of the L1X app. Some pretty cool new features and functions that'll be coming out with that here shortly. And so just going through testing it, trying to work out a lot of the kinks and bugs that come out with launching newer versions and things like that. So stay tuned. I'm pretty excited. It's going to be pretty fun for a lot of people to get in there and start playing around with usernames, space cards, things like that. So that's been kind of a fun thing that we've been working on. Likewise, just to kind of echo what Chief was talking about with projects and Spark as well, doing these X-Talk AMAs have really opened the door to meet a lot of new interesting friends. I call them friends because we're getting to the point where we can start having fun conversations with each other and go down some deep rabbit holes in terms of interoperability and how that works across the board, and how interoperability can help DeFi projects and things like that. And so it is interesting because I have personally had quite a few off AMA talks with a lot of these people, and seeing what they're working on, getting a little bit more information about their projects, which we'll probably be doing a couple of spotlight project AMAs about them, but also how we can help them and what things they're lacking in terms of technology or issues or problems that they're facing with the chains that they're currently on. And as I'm talking with these people, it's really interesting to see their mindset and their focus of where they're headed and want to head. And I think it's a great opportunity to be there and have some of the answers for them in terms of what the L1X platform and blockchain tech can provide to them. And I think that this really, shows us as a community of how important it is to open up your mouth and kind of just share your passion, share what you're excited about, and kind of just sit there and listen to what people have to say and figure out ways to help them. And I think that as we start doing this more and more, I think we'll start seeing a lot bigger adoption across the board when it comes to L1X and integrating it into projects, but also becoming very popular among all the crypto users as well.
Yeah, and I think this is why we encourage our community members to jump into the chat, talk to a few other guys, because you never know who you're talking to, what you'll learn. And only a few sentences or a few words can start a chain of messages that are hours long, that go into different rabbit holes, stuff like that. I think that's all for the questions from my side. Do you see any others, Joe?
I'll just add to a couple of things as well. Like what you just said, Sam, I think is really important. For those that have been in this space for a while already know what you're talking about there in terms of talking to people, learning, understanding, and obviously, but also being cautious because there's a lot of scammers out there. So being protective of your own details and your own privacy. However, when you're getting into community chats and you're talking to other people, it's such a great way not only to create crypto friends, but it's also a great way to educate yourself on the space, what's happening in the space, the technical aspects of the space, the opportunities within the space, all those sort of things. So if you're new to crypto or you're new to L1X, please don't hesitate to put a question out there in the general chat. I think we've got a great an amazing team of community moderators and community members. So feel free to ask those questions. And don't sometimes I think when you get into a chat, you sit in the background, you kind of watch what people are doing. That's fine for a certain period of time. But if you've got questions that aren't getting answered by someone else, then just ask the question. We're here to help in terms of your education throughout crypto, not just with L1X, but throughout crypto itself, because for us that's important because it's with L1X connectivity, we're going to be connecting to chains and other projects that you'll want to understand in terms of opening up these kind of silo chains. So it's great to ask questions in crypto at the beginning. My own personal journey, I think it's probably the journey of a lot of people, was that a lot of your learning with crypto and blockchain is by doing, trying out different things and using that and a lot of the time that's where most of my learning and a lot of my friends in the ecosystem, they've learned through just doing things, and using them. Obviously at low levels initially, just because you don't want to risk anything, but try things out, use these things, and you'll become a lot more kind of understanding of how they work, what they are. But yeah, I would just say dive deep, ask questions, try things within that space, but obviously within some sort of protected environment, and be careful of your details. The other thing Cryptonaut was saying as well in terms of getting out the technology and showing people what the technology is. I think what I like about this phase is the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to that the dev team's working on this weekend is really optimizing those swaps. For me, and I think for a lot of the community members, the best showcase of the interoperability currently is the swaps. So we really need to make that shine. We really need to make that and show people, hey, this is how cheap it can be. This is how fast it is. And it's a trustless system where you keep custody all the way through. So I think first thing, because that is currently the major use case of the interoperability or the major demonstration of the interoperability. I like the fact that we're going to focus on that first. And I noticed a question in the chat as well. How can the community help? So when we optimize the swaps and when we roll out with this liquidity bootstrap program, I know internally as a marketing team, we want to go out there. We want to show, hey, this is a swap with L1X. On L1X app, here's a swap on Stargate. Here's the difference in terms of time, in terms of cost. Because Stargate's the major player out there. So, rolling out that initiative and showing these demonstrations, I think, from a community perspective, even sharing that what we're posting internally on the Twitter handles in terms of the cost comparisons, sharing that information, doing your own cost comparison and sharing that through your socials as well. I think just showcasing, hey, this is what you can now do on these swaps, and this is how it compares to the other alternatives out there. I think that's a really powerful way to go out there and show people there's proof in the pudding from the best use case we currently have of the interoperability, which is the swaps.
Yeah, that's 100% correct. I think it's as a community, we want to see everybody inside the chat. We want to see chatter about, what you're experiencing. We want to be able to share that. We want to be able to put that on socials, our socials, your socials, and really, I guess, get out there as a Layer 1X community and show what this has been built for and the capabilities that it has, because that's going to be the catalyst, I think, in pushing it forward. Obviously, we've got, marketing coming out. We've got all these other things too, but at the heart of it, it's the community that drives a lot of these things forward as well. So it's all about having that. I suppose the proof in the pudding. Here, look, I just did this swap. It cost me like basically nothing, and it's cross chain and it's unbelievable and it's reliable and it's safe. They're going to be the big aspects. So just looking for more Cryptonaut.
I was just going to add to that. If you look at the psychology of motivation, right? There's like two different types of motivation that's out there. There's what I like to call the hotness motivation. You see these guys driving around their Lambos, their jets, kind of got their money gun shooting money everywhere type of thing. That's what I call the hotness motivation, right? And so, a lot of degen meme coins kind of thing offer that type of motivation, and it's not a very long-lived motivation when it comes to that project, right? So it's there to just gain a few things, and you're up and gone. And then what happens? Those usually die. But when you look at the intrinsic motivation, those are the people that are basically the ones that, as you're talking with other people, they're beginning to see what they can do or what they could build or accomplish with the information that you're giving to them. And that's why it's so important to kind of just open your mouth and talk about what you're passionate about as well, because as soon as people can see that and kind of have that aha moment for themselves of what they can do. And we're seeing that quite a bit with a lot of the different projects that we're speaking with, because they know their project inside and out. And and this is where it gets exciting. This is where it gets fun. But as you start applying yourself and getting more engaged into the community, using the product, using the services, and trying to think of new ways to kind of showcase the tech that we have, that's where the real true intrinsic motivation occurs. And that's where I feel like a lot of people that are here, the same ones that come to all the Discord AMAs, the X Talk AMAs, and jump into every conversation that they can. Those are the people that are here for the long run. And so thank you for your support. It's great to see it. And like what Spark was saying, jump into the conversation, ask questions. If you don't know and you're not finding your answer, definitely jump in.
Yeah, and I would just add to that as well. Like, this is the great thing about the technology, because it's EVM, non-EVM. There are so many use cases you could do with that technology in terms of smart contract communication between chains, so EVM to non-EVM contracts, token swaps. So it just reminded me, when or maybe think of this when Cryptonaut said degens, right? And when I think of degens, I think of a lot of different sort of things that they get into. One of them is meme coins, right? So imagine and this would be quite easy to do once we've got the widget established, which will be Q2 this year. You could just easily just create a website that was called something like Meme Hunter, right? You put the L1X widget on there, and then when we've added the DEX aggregator, all you do is you just list the tokens available on Meme Hunter are just meme tokens across all the chains we're connected to. So straight away, you can go to one place, have a look, select the meme, look at its chart, how long it's been going, go onto the widget and buy that meme automatically, right? No matter what chain it's on, as long as it's connected to L1X. And that's just one little use case, right, of providing opportunities to whether it's a degen, whether it's a sophisticated DeFi user, a gamer, an NFT collector, whatever it is. The interoperability unlocks so many different things, so many different use cases, whether they're complicated or they're simple, can make it easier for the user in terms of whatever audience you're trying to attract.
That sounds like an incredibly dangerous sort of degen behavior, this meme hunter, and I'm interested. You've immediately piqued my interest.
Well, I'm constantly because we're around the tech all the time. When you hear ideas, I kind of think, oh, what's the use case for that? 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 And when you hear of different industries like NFTs, the community members that have been in for a long time, we know one of the use cases with NFTs is the fact that an NFT marketplace that you can place that NFT on multiple different marketplaces at the same time. That's one use case for the NFT market that you could build on Layer 1X. The other use case for NFTs in gaming is where you can start to mint and distribute NFTs across any chain that we're connected to, even if your game is built on one of the chains. So let's say it's built on Polygon or it's built on L1X. It doesn't matter where the NFT lies, as long as it's connected to L1X, you can mint it and you can start to access users and communities across multiple different chains. And when they come into the game, whether it's on Polygon or L1X or wherever it is, the smart contract logic will just identify the NFT on the other chain. They won't have to port the NFT over. It'll just verify ownership. You go into the game on L1X, and straight away you can use that NFT, even though you haven't ported it over to the native chain. And that's just two examples of the NFT industry that you could build. Two of thousands of examples, right? And here's the cool thing, and this is what I think a lot of the community are really excited about as well. When we get these dev docs out, when we get the testnet up to that level where you can test and the explorer is there, we will have developers coming in that will have ideas that we haven't even thought about. Once they start to understand the technology, and that's where having something like a gaming arcade already up, a balancer pool active with the smart contracts operational and the swaps operational, it kind of gives those three things, give them an insight into potentially what's possible with the tech, and then they can go ahead on the testnet and test it out. But it's those minds I'm really excited about, because who knows what ideas and what opportunities they will see within the tech.
Absolutely, it's huge potential. Like I said, it's there's so much there that you can dive into. There's so much that's unexplored, and it's just creating the rails to open the barriers to do effectively anything, knowing that at your fingertips you have those capabilities. Massive.
Yeah, and it comes down to us. It comes down to us as a protocol being able to provide the infrastructure for those ideas to occur, right? So having a testnet that they can use and test, having the explorer there, optimizing this, whether it's a tool that we want to give to a developer, like a testnet, explorer, DevDocs, or it's a tool we want to give to the user, like cross-chain swaps. And I remember sitting down with Kevin a couple of weeks ago, and he sat down and he said, look, okay, now it's ready. We've got enough features. We've got enough products. We've got enough kind of things out there. Once we have the balancer pool and the gaming arcade, we've got enough to showcase. And then it's about testing and use case, right? So when we get to testnet, that's when I'm really excited to see there's an infrastructure, a tool for developers to start to access the technology, and let's see what they build. Let's see what comes of that technology and their ideas.
Yeah, absolutely massive. Yeah, I know that our closing statements generally take a while, so I'll probably start to look at those now. Who would like to go first? I see Chief's disappeared. I imagine that the spandex costumes have rolled up at the office, and he's just ducked out to test a couple of the new ones that are arriving on the daily, sent in by the community, of course. So that leaves it over to either you, CryptoNord, or Spark.
Yeah, look, I just want to say thank you for everyone who is at this AMA. Thank you everyone who's obviously can't make it, but will catch up the AMA later on. Have a listen to some of the stuff that we've been talking about today that will be coming out. Look forward to immediate things we can get excited about. The swaps next week, optimization. Try those swaps out. Have a look at speed. Have a look at the cost of those swaps. And we're going to start to promote those swaps and the liquidity bootstrap coming out probably later on next week. In terms of that, that's immediately what we can look forward to. And as a community, just getting behind, really the first use case of the interoperability, which is the swaps. Making sure that when you go and use it and personally, and you realize, okay, this is fast and this is cheap, let's spread the word, let's get them out there, because once people come in and try it once and they realize, wow, okay, why would I go anywhere else to do my swaps? If they're working there at that level where it's cheap and it's fast, and I can do that, initially across the chains that are on the swap widget now, but as we add more chains, it'll just get more and more variety on there as well.
Yeah, echoing what Spark said, lots of great things coming up here in the next week or so. Really looking forward to it because I feel like he mentioned we'll be able to start showcasing and give people the opportunity to keep building. Really looking forward to speaking with even more projects over these upcoming weeks as we learn more about them through our X Talk series, which I recommend that you guys go. And I think we've got another one coming up on Friday, 9 a.m. Eastern or Australian time. I think it's 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time if you're in the US. I would jump into that. We're going to be talking about real world assets, so it should be a good rabbit hole to go down. Just wanted to say thanks to everybody who's in attendance for all of your support and across the board, not only in with the L1X, but as we keep expanding out into other verticals as well to get the word out about L1X. Thank you for your support and looking forward to what's coming.
Yeah, that's perfect, and I think a really good wrap up for what we've got going on, where we're going. But once again, thanks everybody for being here. We really appreciate you. Sam, anything from your end before we wrap up?
I think Spark and Cryptonaut and Chief and you, I think we've covered pretty much everything. Sort of community updates, I guess we still have a few competitions running. You can still participate for the Apex role. We also have Zeely running as well, so there's rewards to be grabbed from there as well. And if you have any suggestions, stuff like that, if you see any project that would like to work with us, if you see any influencers that would like to work with us, then you can reach out to either me or Joe or Fur, and we'll take on from there. Yeah, thank you everyone for jumping in.
And just remind, thanks everybody for being here. We appreciate having you. Let's close it out, and we'll see you on the next one. Thanks, guys.
Bye bye.